How both U.S. political parties manipulate American voters to protect the wealthy. For decades, both Democrats and Republicans have pandered to voters' emotions, not to improve their lives, but to maintain legislative control in favor of the rich and powerful. While their tactics differ, their goal is the same: keep Americans divided, distracted, and uninformed while wealth inequality continues to skyrocket. While Democrats use identity politics to distract from economic injustices, Republicans fuel cultural and racial resentment to keep working-class voters angry at the wrong targets. Meanwhile, billionaires get richer, policies favor the elite, and the average American struggles to survive. The Democratic distraction: identity politics over economic reform. Democrats claim to champion equality, but rather than tackling systemic economic inequality, they focus on social wedge issues like gender identity and symbolic representation. Why? Because focusing on wealth inequality would unite all Americans, all genders, poor, middle class, black, white, Latino, and rural voters alike. Instead, they push issues that divide. Examples of Democratic distractions: LGBTQ+ bathroom debates. Important for some, but not a crisis when millions struggle to afford food. Pronoun controversies. Does ensuring proper gender pronouns solve the housing crisis? Symbolic gestures. Naming roads after civil rights leaders instead of fighting for economic reform that would actually uplift marginalized communities. The ultimate inequality is wealth inequality. The richest 1% control more wealth than the entire bottom 90% combined. Meanwhile, Democrats fail to pass real tax reform, universal health care, or corporate regulation. Billionaires take joyrides to space. While Americans struggle, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, and Richard Branson spend billions on space tourism while workers live paycheck to paycheck. Corporations like Amazon pay little to no taxes, while middle-class Americans carry the burden. Reference ProPublica, 2021. If Democrats truly cared about equality, they would champion economic policies that lift all Americans, not just focus on social issues designed to provoke emotional reactions. The other side of the same coin, the Republican distraction: hate politics and fear-mongering. If Democrats manipulate voters through identity politics, Republicans use cultural resentment, racism, and religious fear-mongering to protect the wealthy. This strategy began in the 1950s, was perfected by Lee Atwater in the 1970s and 1980s, and is executed by MAGA Republicans today. Examples of Republican distractions: anti-immigration hysteria. Instead of addressing wage stagnation, they blame immigrants for stealing jobs, when in reality, corporate outsourcing and automation are the real job killers. Race-based fear-mongering, using critical race theory, CRT, as a boogeyman to enrage voters, despite it not affecting their daily lives. Weaponizing religion, convincing evangelicals that Democrats are attacking Christianity, when real threats to American families come from economic instability, not LGBTQ rights. Republicans have American citizens voting against their own interests. The southern, rural, and Bible Belt states are the poorest in America, reference Census Bureau 2022, yet they consistently vote Republican against policies that would help them economically. While Republicans rally against welfare and big government, they support corporate bailouts, tax cuts for billionaires, and deregulation that allows monopolies to dominate the economy. In 2017, Trump's Tax Cuts and Jobs Act overwhelmingly benefited the wealthiest Americans, yet his working-class supporters were convinced it was for them. Reference Forbes 2018. If Republicans truly cared about the working class, they would fight for livable wages, affordable health care, and union protections, not manipulate voters through racism and xenophobia. The ultimate truth: both parties serve the rich. While Democrats and Republicans pretend to be at war, they are both complicit in maintaining economic policies that benefit corporations and billionaires. Key statistics showing how America's wealth gap is rigged. The richest 1% own 32% of the country's wealth, up from 10% in 1980. Reference Federal Reserve 2023. Corporate profits have risen 500% since 1980, while wages have stagnated. Reference Economic Policy Institute. Both parties receive millions in corporate donations, ensuring policies serve the elite. Reference Open Secrets 2023. The solution? Americans must reject distractions and demand real change. Stop falling for emotional manipulation. Focus on policies that affect your economic future. Demand that both parties address real issues, tax fairness, healthcare, fair wages, and ending corporate influence in politics. Support grassroots candidates who refuse corporate donations and actually fight for economic justice. If we don't wake up, the rich will continue their joyrides to space while we fight over bathrooms and immigrants who have no impact on our wealth. Follow information-warfare.com for more. Stay informed, stay focused, demand real change.